Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I just wanted to do a real quick get ready with me using pretty much all Makeup by Mario products, especially now that he released his new foundation. And granted, you can find every single review on this foundation on YouTube, on the internet, but I figured now that this is available, I would pull all my products and we'll just do a full face of Makeup by Mario together because I have pretty much almost everything in his line, with the exception of lipstick, which I had one, wasn't crazy about the shade, moved that one on. He hasn't come out with concealer, and I think he's supposed to come out with one that goes along with this foundation, but basically with the exception of like concealer and setting powder, everything else on my face is Makeup by Mario. So we've got quite a bit to put on my face together. So if you're interested in just seeing not only how this foundation worked for me at this point, a little late in the game, but also just using all of his other products, even from his very original launch, then just keep on watching. Okay, so before we jump right into it, let me tell you what we're gonna use. So obviously we're gonna use the foundation, and then we're gonna use his, what is this, SoftSculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. I'm gonna use this as bronzer, the corresponding powder that he released with that, which was the Skin Perfector. We're gonna use that. We're gonna use highlight. We will use blush. Of course, we will use the foundation. Basically, pretty much a whole full face here. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's start putting on, like one of the most important things, of course, as it's sitting on my lap, is an eyeshadow palette. And this is his latest, the Ethereal Eyes palette. We'll also use that as well. How could I forget? Okay, so let's jump into it. Let's go ahead and put this on together, and I'll see you after. Alrighty, y'all, so I'm going to start off with a blending brush and using the shade EE5. This is like a cool toned matte, and I'm going to place this in the crease and just start blending it out. The awesome thing about the mattes in this palette, they're very similar to his master mattes, and they literally just make your eyelid look so airbrushed. So just going to blend that out as easy as that is. And again, building it up to the intensity that I wanted, which was, you know, just a couple of layers. Alright, so next up I'm going to go in with the Fenty Pro Filter Eye Primer. This one is my tried and true. And I'm just going to place this directly onto my eyelid. I'm going to smooth it out. If you're unfamiliar with this primer, it is a tackier base. There's not an eyeshadow primer by Makeup by Mario that I really want. I think the only one he has is that concealer looking one. So hopefully, you know, we can get an eye primer in the future. But now I'm going to go in with that sparkly shade on the bottom row. It's EE11, and I'm just taking it on with my finger. It's like these are very much like topper shades, but not. They can pull on their own, which makes them so beautiful. They're very like, I don't know, sophisticated, which I've said in the past, like, you know, elegant glitter. It's just not chunky. It's just this twinkle that is absolutely mesmerizing, and it just layers on so very nicely. Right, so next I'm going to go up with that deepest shade in the palette. It is EE12. Just going in with a different blending brush. I think this one's by Tarte. I don't even call out my brushes, to be honest. But just blending this on the outermost portion of my lid. Again, it's just so easy to blend. These mattes are so simple to work with that it makes it just easy to throw on and blend out. So if you are a beginner, these mattes are just absolutely perfect. So, and they make what could be a frustrating process very, very easy. All right, so I'm going to go in with that sparkly shade on the top. That one is called EE2. Just a little pencil brush, and I'm just going to add it not only to the inner corner of my eye, but I'm taking it up into that first little quarter part of the arch, just trying to make that little arch that kind of hovers over the eyeshadow on the lid. That sounds so weird. What a random description. But I've done this before. Y'all know, just kind of, you know, adding that little bit of extra there at the front end of my crease. All right, next I'm just going in with my Essence brown eyeliner. This is the best, for me anyways, the best drugstore eyeliner. They are like $3. They last forever as far as I don't need to sharpen them too often, and they are one of the ones that last more on my lid than your typical eyeliner. They're also very creamy without being excessively creamy, so they're kind of easy to blend out once you put them on the lid, and I love them. I use this one and the black one pretty frequently. So just lining my upper lids. I don't want to do anything too harsh, and we'll smudge it out here in a sec. Okay, so again, taking a pencil brush, I am literally just smudging it out. Again, I didn't want any eyeliner that was going to look too harsh. I needed something a little bit more natural, and this was just the ticket. So just kind of smudging that out a little bit, not even really doing a wing, just kind of getting it to where it looks a little bit, I mean, it's not even smoky, to be honest, but again, super easy to work with. So let's go into the Makeup by Mario foundation. This is in the shade 11N. I think the first one I did was like 10N or something. It was the first of the two light medium neutrals, and it ended up being too light. This one ended up being perfect. So I very much like the finish of this foundation. It is healthy without looking too glowy and healthy. So, lost my voice there for a second. Super easy to use. Again, I reach for it more frequently than a lot of my others, which of course my Rare Beauty is still my tried and true. But just blending this out with a Huda Beauty foundation brush, again, it's very skin-like, it's easy to blend, it doesn't cover up your skin as far as making it look cakey or kind of gross, and it just sets well overall. So no surprise there. Usually he puts out a good product, and to be honest, I'm kind of waiting for the corresponding concealer. I thought that would have come out by now. Alright, so I'm going to go in with my Rare Beauty concealer. That's what makes this almost a full face of Makeup by Mario, but there's just not one that exists. So going in with the one I know to be my tried and true, and putting this over top, and this mixes really well with this foundation. So now I'm going to go in with a bronzer. It's actually his SoftSculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer, and it's almost like a balm. I don't know how else to describe it to you. It's in the shade light medium, works perfectly for my skin tone, and just going in with like a denser tarte brush and applying this as I would any other cream bronzer. So this reminds me a lot, and it's not identical, so don't quote me, but it reminds me a lot of the Fenty cream bronzer. You know, that kind of gel balmy type of formula? That's what this very much reminds me of. So I don't reach for it as often as I do other cream bronzers, but when I do, I'm like, why don't I use this more often? It's actually kind of pretty. It does leave you with a very healthy, glowy look to the skin as well, as you can tell. And combining it with the foundation even more so. All right, so using the other end of that Huda brush, hold on, it's shedding. I'm just gonna go ahead and, I was gonna say iron out, I'm gonna go ahead and blend out the concealer at this point. And again, this foundation just meshes very well with a whole bunch of products, but this concealer goes pretty nicely. So honestly, just blending this out so that it looks a little bit seamless. And this Rare concealer is also kind of like the foundation. It's skin-like, but it provides the coverage I need. So honestly, they are a perfect match, again, until he decides to come out with the corresponding concealer. Alright, so now I'm just going to go in and just kind of finish out perfecting that bronzing. Once I added the concealer, you know, it kind of blended into that bronzer there, and I just want to make sure it looks a little bit more polished and put together. So just went through and did that right quick. Now, I do have to use also a different, he doesn't have a setting powder, like a loose powder. So again, I'm just going to use Rare Beauty. Now, I typically use Huda Easy Bake, that is my favorite, but this is a more healthier finish kind of powder. It's not a matte. So that's the reason I opted to use this powder with this foundation. So I didn't want to mattify everything and then you can't see the finish and how it looks. So just using the Rare powder in the shade Light. The light medium was a little too deep for me. And just setting those places that would typically, just that I want to look a little more airbrushed and that I, you know, don't want to get too creasy later. Okay, so I'm going to go in with some type of powder. It is the SoftSculpt Transforming Skin Perfector in the shade Light. Now, this isn't really this is more of a finishing powder. It's not a setting powder. It does have a sheen to it, and in fact, looking at the pan, there's like a strip in the middle that almost looks like it has sparkle. Mixed together, it is lovely, but it isn't something, I'm not one for using a whole lot of finishing powders, so I have noticed I don't use it too much. Now, the intent of this powder is really not even to use it as a finishing powder over your foundation. It is meant to be used with that other product, the Skin Enhancer, kind of like a no makeup type of look. So in that aspect, it is a very nice product. But for setting or placing over foundation, I don't reach for it a whole lot. Still lovely though. Okay, so let's move into let's see what we're going to use next. Okay, we're going to use highlighter. So I'm guessing looking back, I'm guessing I didn't use the powder bronzer. Okay, we'll use highlighter. This is in the shade Pearl. I will tell you it's not one of my favorite highlighters of life. It is that kind of softer, not as much in your face type of highlighter, but I know that was the intent for it. It also has a little bit of a pinky sheen, but it's a lovely highlighter overall. Y'all know, I love the very high wattage type of highlighters. But just placing this on the high points of my cheeks, just to give me that little extra glow. And listen, y'all, I will never get away from doing the nose. I think that's just a staple for me. So that's a Michelle thing and always will be. Okay, now let's go in with blush. I love this blush so much. This is the Soft Pop Powder Blush in the shade Poppy Pink, and it is absolutely beautiful. I will say both his powders and his cream blushes, they are just beautiful. So easy to work with, so good. The shades are lovely. This is definitely a brighter shade, and I love me a good pop of color. So just taking a Sonia Kashuk brush and placing this on the cheeks, and it just, oh my gosh, even looking through the footage right now, I'm like, oh, it looks so good. Why didn't I buy more shades? Now, obviously by my expression, I applied too much. So easy fix, just go over it with the foundation brush, and then you're good to go. No big deal. Okay, so let's go back into the eyeshadow palette. We're going to go into that shade EE5, again with like a little pencil brush. We're just going to place that on the outer portion of the lower lash line. It's like the perfect lower lash line shade. And so doing it obviously on the full lash line at this point. But it just ties everything together. It's not too harsh. It just really looks cohesive. It's just, again, the perfect shade. I love it so much. This palette, I cannot speak its praises enough. That, our look is completed with a full face of makeup by Mario. Decided to keep the lips au naturel, but I hope you enjoyed this. Alrighty, my friends, that brings us to the end of today's video. Hope you enjoyed. Pretty quick, but still fun putting on all products from one particular brand. Again, especially with the new foundation from Makeup by Mario, which I actually have very much been enjoying. I will tell you, it took me a couple of tries, not a couple of tries, this is try number 2, to get the right shade. I started with 8N, and that was a little too yellow. So it is a neutral, it's marketed as neutral, but it was too warm for my liking. And so I opted to take a chance on 11N, and it was perfect. I actually like this shade very, very much. It is truly a little bit more neutral, and I have actually been enjoying this. So if you run in my same skin tone and you like picking foundations based on the shade I picked 11N for that one. But I love Makeup by Mario's brand. I feel like I rarely find something that I don't like, and so it was kind of fun putting all of this together in just one full look. So hope you enjoyed, and I hope you'll stick around for more videos, even though they are very much less frequent, but I truly appreciate you just sticking out my channel with me. Before I let you go, just want to give you a quick verse of the day to give you motivation, encouragement, and to tell you that Jesus loves you. And today's comes from James 1:12, and it says, "Blessed is the man who perseveres under trial, because when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him." It is my prayer that if you don't already know Jesus as your Lord and Savior, that he would make himself very, 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 very real to you in this moment. Life with him is absolute, I say perfection, not because life is perfect, but because navigating life with him is the best, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank y'all so much for watching and for spending some time with me today. I will see you in the next video. Take care and have a great rest of your day, friends. Bye.